shock. When we can't meet the needs of the body with our blood flow that's leaving the heart, we're in shock. If it is termed cardiogenic, this is shock, usually that's found with myocardial infarction, a heart attack. All right, this is where something has actually happened with the heart and the person is in a cardiogenic shock because that part of the heart has stopped beating. If it's based upon low venous return, this is telling us that the blood in the veins, which would have other means like those pumps to get back to the heart, it's not enough going to the heart to go from the right, to go into the lungs, to come back to the left, to make it into the systemic circuit. And that becomes pretty much of an issue. Now, if we have low venous return, LVR, okay, the three forms, hypovolemic, that's our most common. Usually there's been a trauma, maybe there's severe burns, maybe we've got dehydration, okay? Maybe there's been some type of trauma. This is why in cases that have really bad trauma, they worry about the person going into shock. And they want to try to treat it, meaning get the blood flow back to a norm. I didn't say normal. Back to a norm that it can meet metabolic needs while you are addressing the other issue. So people who, you know, like when you have situations of like a train derailing or something, it becomes very important for them to, you know, make sure they put people in the right group, okay, as for treatment, like ones who can wait, ones who might be a little more severe, and the ones who are severe, because they run the risk, you know, of losing them, the other ones going into shock, and then the ones who are not severe who can wait. Okay, so they have to make sure that they put them into the correct trauma group. If there's something obstructing the venous return, this can cause shock, such as a tumor, for example, a cancer. Aneurysms can do this. If it is venous pooling, for the most part, the blood pools in the lower body, okay? If that occurs, maybe, you know, like, I mean, venous pooling can occur with like standing too much, sitting, you know, standing too long on their feet, sitting too much. But in some cases, in the venous pooling, where it kind of pulls in the lower body, doesn't get pushed back to the upper body to get back to the heart. Have you ever heard of septic or anaphylactic? Okay, septic, it's actually due to a toxin from a bacteria. That one can become very severe, can lead to death, okay? They need to make sure they get in and treat that bacteria as quick as possible and begin to get that blood flow from the other parts of the body back to the heart. Anaphylactic, once again, something has caused the issue. This is what you normally hear of being associated with people in severe allergies. For example, like the bee venom. And they usually have their EpiPen. Do you know now why it's epi? Because we've talked about epinephrine, norepinephrine, which means sympathetic division. You stimulate the sympathetic division, and therefore you're stimulating the heartbeat and the blood return. Okay? The response to circulatory shock, you can either have compensated responses or decompensated. And a compensated response, hopefully there are mechanisms based on our homeostasis of the body that will spontaneously get us to recover. People who faint, for example, somebody faints, we're told, raise their legs, prop their legs up. That's the best thing to do. Don't get them up. If they faint, leave them where they're laying. Get something, prop their feet up, and then, hi, are you awake? Okay, you're back with us. Okay, just hang there for a few minutes and let the blood come back. Okay? That's really one of the best things you can do. All right? Because if it's already pulled to their lower body, they faint, you get them to stand. Well, what did you just do? Okay, you just kind of kept the blood down there. All right, unless you're going to make them get up and run like a 20-mile marathon or something. Get blood. I'm saying leave them, let them, get them, bring them back. Decompensated, we don't restore the blood flow. In cases, for example, heart attack, a myocardial infarction, an MI, anything that could be affecting clotting of the blood vessels, anything that would cause the body to not be able to recover spontaneously, problem is we now go into a positive feedback loop. This means it becomes greater. Because remember, positive feedback feeds the loop. So in the case of a myocardial infarction, they want to try to restore the blood flow. If they can't, if the heart is too damaged, whatever the case might be, positive feedback loop starts, chances are the person's going to die. Okay? So compensated, our body has abilities to recover. Decompensated, the body doesn't for shock. And it's one of the reasons that shock is a major issue in the medical community.